Thank you for joining us today. Georgia's COVID vaccination rates are increasing slowly, very slowly, but still sit below the national average. At this point, 34% of Georgians are fully vaccinated and 41% have had at least one dose. About 33% of Chatham County residents are now fully vaccinated, and while that number is creeping up slowly, most of us are still not vaccinated. Approximately 38% of us are partially vaccinated. In our surrounding counties, these rates are even lower. We continue to ask everyone to know the facts and to get their vax. The best way to get to our pre-pandemic lifestyle is to get a COVID-19 shot. As you know, COVID-19 vaccines are widely available across our city at doctors' offices, pharmacies, and health clinics. The vaccination clinic at the Savannah Civic Center is open on Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 4:00 p.m. Both the Pfizer and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines are available. The Chatham County Health Department and CORE are hosting 3 pop-up vaccination clinics this week. You can get a COVID-19 shot today from 11:15 a.m. to 4:00 p.m. at the Patron Bar and Grill, located at 4395 Ogeechee Road. On Friday, they will be at Overcoming by Faith, located at 9700 Middle Ground Road, from 1:15 to 6 p.m. On Saturday, they will be at Jesus First, the Community Church, located at 2202 U.S. Highway 80 in Garden City, from 10:15 a.m. to 3:00 p.m. Both the Pfizer and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines will be available, and you can pre-register at gachd.org, gachd.org/vaccine, and walk-ins are also welcome. The city has started a phased-in reopening of facilities and programs to the public last week. Some have adjusted hours and others are requiring appointments, so we ask our citizens to continue to be patient as we gradually reopen. For details about each facility, you can visit savannahga.gov, savannahga.gov/reopening. City youth summer camp started this week and registration is still open. The city will offer summer enrichment, art and recreation, and athletic camps through July the 30th. Each camp is offered weekly, so you can sign up for just 1 week or you can do multiple weeks throughout the summer. And you can find out information about each camp, including the ages served, the camp hours and locations at savannahga.gov/enrichment, savannahga.gov/art camp, and savannahga.gov/rec camp, REC camp. This week, summer campers at 3 city recreational centers will get a special gift thanks to a Savannah 10th grader. Lily Apt organized the Savannah Backpack Mission, raising funds to buy and donate 350 backpacks and water bottles to young people in our city. Many of our campers use plastic shopping bags to bring their belongings to and from camp. As of our last update, she has raised $3,600 from 46 donors across the United States, and to us, that's a big freaking deal. Lily shows us that each one of us can have a hand in making our community better, no matter how big you are or how small you are, and I am excited that she decided to partner with the City of Savannah to benefit our campers. So thank you, Lily Apt. We want residents to reimagine recreation beyond what we have today to what it could be in the future, and we've talked about recreation reimagined. We've also talked about our need and desire that this be more of a collaborative effort with our county and school board partners. So you can visit savannahga.gov/rec reimagined survey, REC reimagined survey, to share your thoughts. and call 912-651-6520 for more information. Starting on Thursday, we will celebrate Waste and Recycling Workers Week in Savannah. And to show your appreciation, we're asking our citizens to create and display signs in your yard, on your porch, and in your lane, wherever they'll be seen, from June the 10th to June the 18th to recognize the men and women who help keep our neighborhoods clean. We also want you to share them on social media by tagging the City of Savannah and using the hashtags SavannahStrong. The Savannah City Council continues to work aggressively and diligently and thoroughly towards identifying and hiring our next city manager. I appreciate the way that our council has worked thus far, and I'm pleased to announce that we will be making an announcement within 10 days, at least 10 days. We're tentatively planning to invite these finalists to Savannah toward the end of this month. We also continue to make significant progress toward determining the future of the fairgrounds property. We have received the best and final offers from the 3 proposals, and as we previously committed, we will create general opportunities for the entire city, and specifically for the residents of the Fowler Park community to view all 3 proposals for the property. We recognize that this is a citywide opportunity. We also recognize it affects some people more than others. So as we've done, we'll do a very macro approach because the community needs to have a general say, but we want to make sure that the neighboring community, and that's Fowler Park in this case, and to no further off Tatumville, will have the opportunity to be engaged in this process. The city manager and staff will continue their due diligence of rating the proposals based off of the required technical and financial considerations before making a consideration to the city council, and then the city council will ultimately vote to determine the successful proposal. So while this project was inherited by this council, I am glad that on this watch, the finish line or the beginning line, depending on how you look at it, is clearly in sight. We continue to encourage moms in our city to participate in a new effort to curb gun violence in our community. We know that local moms understand what it's like to lose a child to gun violence. And so we are partnering with these sheroes, as I will call them, to share 10 ways every mother in Savannah can help to keep our young people safe and our not so young people safe this summer. Father's Day is in about 2 weeks, so stay tuned about that. We had a very, very successful Wear Orange Day on Friday, and we want to thank Moms Demand Action and Everytown USA, and also the elected leaders from various jurisdictions, Chief Mentor and the command staff of the police department, and just all of the people that came out and wore orange. And we saw those on social media, and next year we will do it bigger and better. We also ask, as we share these tips on social media about 10 ways, 100 days, we want to have to people to share it, to amplify it. And of course, again, we're thankful to our local news outlets asking parents, do they know where their child is each night at 11 p.m. I believe that it's making a difference, and I'm grateful for that support. Whatever you do, however you do it, we ask that you use the hashtag 10 days, 100 ways SAV, 10 days, 100 ways SAV, and of course, Savannah Strong. Together, and only together, we can help provide accountability and hopefully reduce these senseless acts of violence in our community. And as you know, each week over the next 100 days, I'll be sharing information about an unsolved homicide in our city in hopes that someone comes forward to give Savannah police the information they need to remove a murderer from our streets. On February the 17th of this year, 22-year-old Marcos Miranda Jr. was shot and killed at West 36th Street and Florence Streets in College Brownsville. He was born in Savannah and served 2 years in the 18th Airborne Corps at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. His mother, father, 5 sisters and brothers miss him terribly. And he also left behind an unborn child who he will never have the opportunity to hold. If you know something about this case, and we know that someone knows something, please call SPD's Violent Crimes Tip Line, 912-525-3124, or Crime Stoppers at 912-234-2020, 912-234-2020. As we all know, tips remain anonymous and may qualify for cash rewards up to $2,500. So again, we need you. If you know something, we want you to say something, and you could do that anonymously. Looking ahead, this is a council week, and so we have a council meeting on Thursday. We will be considering a $1.2 million contract for drainage improvements at the Placenta Canal at Savannah State University. And this is the city's 3rd such improvement to address bottlenecks in the Placenta Basin in the last 12 months. And this improvement project is fully funded by SPLOST 6. We are also planning to accept donations from First Chatham Bank and CSX Transportation to the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund. These generous donations will continue to support the city's volunteer and minor home repair programs to help address affordable housing needs in our city. And finally, tomorrow, I will join our Highlands neighbors in District 1 as we celebrate the grand opening of the new Highlands Fire Station, number 14. And I'm excited that our Savannah firefighters now have a state-of-the-art facility to work in to better serve our Highlands residents. Our Highlands neighbors deserve it, and our Savannah firefighters have earned it. So that ends my prepared remarks, and we'll entertain any questions you may have.
Good morning, Mr. Meyer.
Good morning.
My first question for you this morning, you talked about COVID cases starting to decline a little bit. Does this make you regret rescinding the mask mandate at all?
No, not at this time. Again, we look at trends, and we look at the comprehensive numbers. So I've committed that I will follow the science, and so right now the science is still intact. I mean, we expect minor ticks up and down, but you know, if we are getting back in the transmission index in the high 90s, you know, we start getting very concerned about that. So as of right now, we're okay. But again, that changes week to week, and so we're evaluating it week to week.
You also mentioned how this time around the city manager search has been much better, and you appreciated how council has been handling this. How has it been different for you in council this time around?
Well, it's been different because we employed a different approach that allows more objective way of determining who it is that a council member has a preference on. We've basically force ranked for the entire process. You know, we know that we sometimes don't always play very well together. I mean, it is what it is. And so limiting the opportunities where there is extensive discussion at this point, getting us from a relatively large number to 3 finalists, again, has been much smoother. Again, I've been thoroughly impressed with Development Associates. I was very impressed with the assessment center process. I was thoroughly impressed that the things that the assessors pointed out, you know, we also saw during the interview process. And so, again, once we have those 3 finalists and we ensure that they are okay with being advanced as finalists in accordance with our open records laws, we would then go ahead and present them publicly. So again, 7 to 10 days we expect to do that.
And I know you can't go into too much detail about it, but what are your thoughts about the finalists?
Well, actually, I like the pool. I think we have some good public servants. I was a little concerned at first that we didn't have as many applications as we had the first time. But this time, again, very solid pool. And again, for me, I've been very clear. Our city has been without leadership for quite some time. Leadership in terms of stable leadership. We've had some great interims, which a city like Savannah needed at the time. A lot of cities, Kansas City, they had city manager level experienced folks living in their cities. So through Pat Monahan and now Michael Brown, we've been able to survive and survive some of our most difficult times. And maybe we needed that experience. But I am interested in a change agent. I am interested in someone who is able to help the city of Savannah transform. I think that our government could be much better. I think we could be more efficient. I think we could be more equitable and more inclusive. And we need someone with that type of experience to help us to be able to do that internally. I think that we have some great people, maybe some of them are on the wrong seats on the bus. And so we need to fit the right people in the right seats of the bus. We have to have a much better idea of what customer success is and how we interact with our customers. We need to have someone that our team respects and can look up to and can follow. I think that's a very important thing. Someone who is able to help create out-of-the-box situations. I'm tired of status quo. You know, this is a new time in our city, and so we'll see where it leads us. Again, it's 9 people voting, and you know, I've committed before that, you know, I sought before to have a 9-0. That didn't happen. 8-1, that didn't happen. 7-2, that didn't happen. 6-3, that didn't happen. And 5-4 that we probably finally got, but none of the candidates were willing to come on a 5-4. So, you know, that benevolence cost us, and so this time will be much more directed in terms of securing a city manager. I'm committed to that.
Do you think that it has affected your job at all, being the mayor, by not having a consistent city manager in that role? Absolutely,
absolutely. When we get into issues of long-term planning, Mr. Brown, to his credit, understands of throwing the ball too far in the future because you don't want to, you know, get in the way of a new city manager coming on board with visions and ideas as well. He's been relatively hesitant to make personnel changes that might need to be made again because he wants to allow a new city manager to come in and do that. So it's definitely affected us. You know, some of our folks have become comfortable because there's really nobody minding the store on a full-time, all-the-time basis. There are some things I think council would like to see, some things I definitely would like to see. Again, the city manager, the appointment of a city manager is key in getting those things happening.
Last thing on the city manager, I promise. What are some of your big picture goals? What are things that people should look forward to having this new city manager come in? And I mean, you said you have some big goals for our city.
Well, and again, you know, these are my ideas only. Someone who gets it, gets Savannah. Someone who's willing to learn about our city. Savannah is a very unique city. We have, you know, we're a college town, but we're a military town. We're a tourist town, but we're also a historic town. We're an ecosystem, environmentally friendly town. I mean, we just have so many different things. We're a coastal city. So all of these different things, and we have to have someone in that understands that. But we have significant challenges. There are still significant gaps between those who have and those who don't have. We have issues of affordable housing, of homelessness, a variety of social issues, social justice. We have to have somebody that has those types of ideas. You know, personally, you know, I'm still pushing towards hiring and creating a diversity, inclusion, and equity office. because we have to look at making sure that we are being diverse and equitable in handling our business internally, and then how do we do that in terms of services that we provide to people. I'm also very much in favor of hiring an innovation officer, because again, the cities that have been able to survive during this pandemic are cities that have had opportunities to be in front of the curve. And so we have to find ways to be in front of the curve. What are those best practices, or do we create best practices, not only through every department, but throughout the city? Then we have to have someone that recognizes that we're interconnected. We have other governments, and we have business leaders, and we have a strong religious community that we have to be able to engage in. So I want someone who can sit in City Hall, but then someone who could walk out with the chief and I in housing developments late at night just to see what our city looks like. I want someone who understands very clearly. I want to see a nighttime city government, because our city is different at night than it is during the day. And so, in my opinion, during nighttime hours and on weekends, our city brass, except for probably the police chief and those, are home. And so we need to have a responsible person from the city manager's office in charge of nighttime weekend Savannah. Someone from property maintenance, somebody from code compliance, somebody from alcohol, just for reasons of making sure we're managing our city on a 24-hour basis. So again, bunch of stuff, and so the person will have a lot of work, but again, the quality of the city manager will depend on will create the quality and depth to be able to address these issues.
Totally switching gears, and last question from me. With it being Pride Month,
you know you've said that 3 times already, right?
I did not say that I was switching gears. No. With it being Pride Month, does the city have any plans to celebrate or do any type of recognition?
On Thursday, we will issue a proclamation, my second, designating June as Pride Month, and I expect that the chair of our Proud Savannah and the chair of the Pride group here will accept it. And again, we're committed to assisting where we can. I'm not familiar with anything in particular that is happening in the community, but we recognize, being the inclusive community we're trying to be, that's Pride Month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
So I understand you had a little bit of a scary situation over the weekend. Some protesters coming straight to your house, upset with some of the things that or how you run the city. Is that something that you have a concern about in the future? Do you plan to confront these protesters? I mean, what do you think?
I wasn't scared. Essentially, I was young at one time. I remember in January of 1987, as a college student, we went to Forsyth County, it was Cumming, Georgia, to protest the fact that stones were thrown at marchers that were walking through that county. It was my first time ever seeing a real live Ku Klux Klansman. And so I remember that. I remembered the zeal that I wanted to have to be able to make things better. We went up there fully recognizing that if we had done something that was against the law, and Dr. King taught that civil disobedience, Gandhi taught civil disobedience means that you accept the consequences for those actions. So, many of you know, I've not been a stranger to protests here. I'm known to join protests. I'm known to stand with people. I've absolutely affirmed the right of our people to assemble and to protest, to demonstrate. I think that's the American way. However, it needs to be done in a manner that is legal. It is illegal for someone to go and lay in the middle of Bay Street. Again, I supported the right to assemble. I do not support the right of disrupting traffic and putting people's lives in danger. This night, a young lady came and rang my doorbell after midnight. There were several people getting out of cars, standing in the middle of the street, and a bullhorn comes out, and you know, it wasn't respectful to my neighbors. I live on a street in which there's a 90-year-old who lives directly across from me, a 90-year-old who lives next door to me, a 90-year-old who lives 2 doors down from me, and you know, I felt bad for them. If we're going to respect black lives and say Black Lives Matter, then have some respect for black seniors as well. And the fact of the matter is, it's against the law to assemble in residential streets. It's against the law to use a bullhorn for those purposes. And so, as it went, and well, unfortunately, you know, the young lady does not understand our form of government, and certainly is not akin to understanding the issues that we are facing here locally. I know her mom and her grandmom, and both have called and offered their support to me, and I'm appreciative of that. We are not a strongman form of government. We're a council manager form of government. And so, you know, campaign promises are promises that, again, that a council, that 9 people have to be able to enact. And I will tell you that we're keeping track. The things that I said I would do, either we have done them or we're significantly on the track of doing them, point for point. And so the young lady and her friends decided to do this. Hopefully they understood what the ramifications were. The police showed up. As I understand it, gave her lawful order to leave. She refused to leave, and so she was arrested. So the issues and the charges have nothing to do with me, because you know, that's between her and the police and the public right away. To that end, you know, I'm hoping that she learns her lesson and goes away. 1 hour of disrupting everyone's sleep on our street is not akin to the 20 hours or whatever it was she spent in jail. We're not trying to criminalize or have more young people with criminal records that affect them later in life. But you know, it is what it is. You know, I thank the police for their swift response, and you know, life goes on.
And it brought up the topic of gentrification in Savannah. Do you think that that's something or an issue the city really needs to tackle?
The city is tackling it. I mean, that's the point. Gentrification is bigger than the city. Gentrification is an issue of the state. It's also an issue of market. And so, I mean, I wish the young lady would understand that the city in and of itself doesn't control gentrification. That's why we have an affordable housing task force, Housing Savannah, because how do we create ways to make Savannah affordable for Savannans? Just for that reason. In the meantime, if a developer or anyone else comes and offers someone money for their house, in Georgia, they have the absolute right to sell the house or their property to the highest bidder. The city cannot stop that. So I'm not sure of what, you know, in Georgia, that, you know, there are restrictions on city governments in terms of doing that, except for property we own. So she seems to have an issue with SCAD. You know, again, learn about the community, learn about the issues that we're facing here, and you know, then make an informed argument about what's happening in the community, and more importantly, how you can help.
And switching gears a little bit on the mask mandate.
Yes.
You know, we had the first weekend where the advisory was in place. What kind of things are you hearing from businesses, from the community, from tourism leaders? Are they happy to be going in this direction? Do they feel like it's positively impacting their business? What kind of conversations are you having?
It's been mixed. Actually, I've heard from people who were very disappointed that I lifted the mask mandate. And you know, to that end, you still see people out wearing masks. I'm still wearing masks. You know, I think people are just all over the place with this. Our reality is still that 2 out of 3 Savannahans, Chatham Countyans, are not vaccinated. And so therefore, we are still, as a community, at risk. We're nowhere near the 50% that the president is touting. We're nowhere near getting toward herd immunity at this point, not at 33%. But fortunately, vaccinations are still occurring, and people are still being vaccinated. As you see, our numbers have gone up, I think, from 31 to 33. So that's good news. It's just going up slower than we would have liked. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, sir.
I'm going to say I was asked like all my questions, so I only got one question. Any update on the restructuring of the anti-gun violence task force? I know that was kind of a topic when the gentleman resigned a little bit, so any update on how that's going on?
I'll leave some of that to the chief, and he's here to answer questions you may have. We have been in discussions about how not only in-gun violence flows, but also how it fits into our larger plan with the violence interrupters, with Savannah Impact, and how these programs can complement each other. So specifics about that, the chief will probably be best positioned for that. Ultimately, we all agree that it won't be a police position. There's been research that indicates that obviously these positions work best when not directly reporting to a police department. And so the chief embraces that, and so do I. But let the chief answer those specific questions.
Appreciate it.
That's it? She asked all your questions?
Literally all. Literally all.
Well, next time we're going to let you go first, so Alex will ask all your questions. But so we're in an interesting weather pattern, where it's hot and then it rains, and then hot and then it rains and it gets hotter. So it means we're getting close to summer in Savannah. So we want people to take care, and we're trying to do our best. Again, want to find some ways of providing for those who are in the heat. Again, I'm a proponent of finding ways of creating heating and cooling stations throughout our community, water for those who need it. So I'll be actively working on doing that. And we have a couple of task forces, new task forces, that we'll be debuting in the next couple of weeks. Again, fulfilling my campaign promise of bringing people to the table. So thank you all for what you do. Chief Mentor is here if you want him. And may God bless Savannah. Chief, your turn.